Squarespace.
Oh, hey, what's up? I was just, I was just prepping for the PS5 video with That's Not Your Toothbrush. This is my PS5.
I'm talking about that PS quintuple.
It is a launch day PS5, and by launch day, I mean I got it like a year after it launched. It's a disk drive PS5, and I have it here today because I'm in my office, and this is where I play my PS5. I don't know why you're here. Who invited you? Now, the original PS5s used liquid metal as a thermal conductor instead of thermal paste. And when the PS5 is vertical like this, the liquid metal tends to pool at the bottom, leaving a bare spot at the top. I only learned this thanks to some YouTubers like TronicsFix, and it only intrigued me because I'm planning on giving this to my dad. Now, I don't want to make the same mistake I made before, where I didn't check the thermals of the computer that was pre-built that I gave him, only to find out 3 years later, the sticker was left on the heatsink. I don't want to make that same mistake twice, so I'm going to check to see if the liquid metal is pooling on my PS5. Now, I barely play this thing. I should say I barely played it. I don't know how many hours I have on it. I know I have quite a few hours on Gran Turismo 7. That's the only game I played on this, and maybe like Twisted Metal 2. So yes, I use my PS5 to play games from 1996. Now, the original PS5 had a few different issues. Overheating was obviously the main one, because that's the main issue with everything that's game-related nowadays. And they overheated from a few different ways. Number one, dust. We all know dust, right? So the dust, specifically on the PSU, would overheat the PSU and it would go into thermal protective mode and shut the machine down. The second overheating reason was the thermal paste, or liquid metal, thermal compound, what do I even call that? Spermal paste. This is why I just say spermal paste. It's so much easier. And of course, you get dust in the heatsink and all that stuff, so whatever. Those were, I consider, maybe a design flaw. Because why give me a vertical stand if I shouldn't put my PlayStation vertically? And I didn't realize that until, 6 years, 5 years down the road, when I see videos on YouTube. The third problem isn't really a problem with the PS5, but it's the HDMI port. These broke on PS4s, PS5s, everything. I don't know what it is with Sony, or maybe it's just the people using them. The HDMI ports are weak. I don't know if that's a design flaw or if that's just a flaw of the person shoving in cords. But I'm very curious how my PS5 has withstood 5 years of me barely using it. And the reason I'm giving my dad this PS5 is because he is having a tough time right now. I'm trying to spoil him as much as I can. He takes care of my mom. She has dementia, and I'm trying to just make his life as comfortable as possible, hence why I fixed his gaming computer, and now I want him to play the PlayStation, because he also loves Gran Turismo, and he's only played Gran Turismo 7 a few times when I brought the PS5 over. Now, the PS5 is pretty simple to take apart, but there's a lot of screws. For some reason, Sony really enjoys using screws. The PS4 had a bunch of screws. The PS3, that's one of the things I learned on, was the original fat PS3. That thing has a ton of screws and a bunch of cable connectors that break. Now, this is my first time taking apart a PS5. I've taken apart a PS4, PS3, PS3 Slim, PS3 Fat. In fact, this is my PS3 Ultra Slim, I think they call it. I did a fan mod on this thing, and I drilled holes right here where the fan is to make it run cooler. It was a little experiment I did before I started making YouTube videos. And this gave me confidence because, look at the PS5 design, huh? Looks like they took a page out of the book of the greatest technician that's ever lived, because this is what the PS5 is with the case off. Extra airflow. So the PS5 looks like it has two different sets of screws. The typical TR8 Tr8 and Phillips screws. This is the disc version, so I'm gonna start by removing the Phillips screws on the disc tray, and I'm going to put them in my nifty little thing right here. I'm not sponsored by anybody, don't you worry. Don't you worry, except for Squarespace.
Squarespace provides a full suite of tools and templates for any aesthetic your creative heart desires. If you're starting from scratch and have no clue what you're doing, Squarespace Blueprint is a guided design experience that lets you pick professional layouts for a custom site that works on any device. They include built-in SEO to help you get found and handle payments through Apple Pay and PayPal, while offering buy now, pay later options like Afterpay and ClearPay. Head to squarespace.com/SalemTechSperts and use the code in the description for 10% off your first website or domain. Shout out to Squarespace for helping bring our wildest passion projects to life.
In pure Sony fashion, all the screws are different sizes on the case. Well, at least the Torx screws on the edges are different sizes, which is kind of funny. This piece of trim pops off? Does this pop off? I only say that because it looks like I need to get to the fan right here. So the few fan screws right here, there's one that's I can't get to, so I'm assuming this thing pops off. I just don't know how it pops off, and I really don't want to break it. And yeah, as you can see, I came very prepared for this video. I watched the teardown process and everything. I wouldn't lie to you guys. I would never do that. Look at, even the fan screws are different sizes. This thing definitely comes out. Oh yeah, okay. It's not going back on, but it definitely came off. I'm gonna continue planting the, not my seed, I'm gonna plant the case screws in the order that I took them out in this position, and that's generally how, I mean, you wanna do something, just when you're taking something apart. It makes it easier for everything. Now, if you're wondering why I can't turn my head all the way, I messed my neck up somehow. That's how out of shape I am. I was loading the dishwasher and I turned, and now I can't like turn my neck more than this. One of you doctors out there wants to give me a massage. Grill, fan grill, comes out. I'm gonna put it right there. Now I know where every single screw goes with those. I'm not gonna take the fan out yet because I need to lift up this thing, it looks like, and I don't wanna miss this guy right here. This looks like it might be a warranty. Yeah, warranty. I am the warranty. That is a cool little warranty sticker though, the little PlayStation thingies. There's also a little PlayStation screw right here. I don't know if you guys caught that one for the NVMe. Little X's and squares and triangles. Oh, Jesus. Right here. This is the NVMe screws for if you want more storage. I believe the storage on the PS5s are soldered. Yeah, so the original storage is soldered, and that's what you pay for when you get the machine, and then you can add NVMe's to it. Pretty cool. I like it. Unless your internal storage dies, and then you'll need to call somebody electronics fix to get them to solder on a new. Actually, I don't know if you can do that. I wonder if they're encrypted, like they're paired, because I know the disk drives are. So I'm gonna put this screw with that piece of tape, that way I know it went with that. So I'm gonna double check every single screw is out. We're looking okay, every screw is out. And now for this guy. This is where the fan connector is, and there's a little heat sink under there too, which is kind of interesting. So fan connector connects here, and then there's a connector that connects to a connector. Because yo dog, I heard you like connectors. Did you hear that?
Yes.
I'm sure this connector actually does do something. What the? Jeez, Hugo, did you forget your keys again? Ugh. Buddy, you can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing this. Oh no. Oh, Hugo, 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 no! Well, anyway. His head fell off. His head's on the roof. His head's on the roof. Oh no. So let's unplug the fan. It's interesting. It looks like they use the same plug that the fan's been using for years. This is the cleanest product I've ever owned in my life. Not a speck of gooch. I'm very proud of myself with this. It's actually very depressing because it just shows that I have been so busy the past 5 years that I don't even have time to play my own PlayStation. The heatsink actually looks pretty clean too. Not a speck of dust on this thing, which is nuts. This is literally the cleanest thing I own. Little gooch there, but nothing to collect. The gooch collector can maintain his man cave. All right, and this panel comes off. This panel comes off. Yes, spoken with confidence and not guesswork.
The greatest technician that's ever lived.
Put that guy right here, nice and safe. And I think this is when the Blu-ray drive comes out. This connector looks like it's a push connector. You push it and then you just pull a little and there we are. This connector looks like it just pulls straight out. Oh, does that mean this connector pulls straight out? That pushes down too? Oh, that's interesting, that pushes down too. And I think this is attached to a heatsink, but I'm just gonna pull this out as well. I think this is the LED cable for the lights at the front. We have a Wi-Fi antenna that goes, Jesus, everywhere. This heatsink is completely clean, no gooch there. Blu-ray drive comes right out. Let's undo the Wi-Fi cable, so one big boy here, one big boy here. I'm trying to be as least destructive as I can possibly be. Okay, fine. I don't care. Holy shit, what the fuck did they use for this? This cable's for the LED light that shines right here. This cable's for the power button and the reset button. There's quite a few screws here. So yeah, you gotta unscrew every single screw you see. That's my advice here. So we're gonna do that and then we're gonna come back. 69 screws later, they're all the same size, thankfully. 70 screws. I want to show you something. I saw this little guy earlier. I was wondering what the heck this was. I thought it was a warranty screw or sticker or something like that. And then there's no screw in there, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And then I realize, hey, you know that mount that I've been having problems with the entire time I've owned this device? There's a screw hole right there, because obviously you're supposed to screw the damn mount in so it doesn't move around like it's been doing on me. Greatest technician that's ever lived moment. Of course I didn't read the directions. I don't do that stuff. What was that? Well, you know what, we can't put it vertical. That's right. You don't want to put it vertical because this is an OG PS5. I'm going to take this chance to also tell you guys, with the PS5 Pro, they actually fixed this issue with the liquid metal. They have little grooves in the CPU or the APU. Is it the CPU, GPU, APU? One of the PUs. They have grooves in there, and the liquid metal stays in those grooves so it doesn't spill out. Interesting. So let's take this motherboard out. Again, I've never worked on these before, so I really don't know the correct way to take this out. It's always super sketchy. This is how you learn firsthand. You just kind of inspect it. You look to see where the potential points are. And actually, you know what? I wonder if this shield comes out by itself. No, that doesn't come out. I tried to remove the board. It didn't work because this plate was not coming off as easy as I thought it should come off, but that's because there was thermal putty. There's actually a pretty good application of thermal putty that was holding this together, and here we are. This is the PS5. Looks like most of the thermal putty stuck on the plate itself, so this had a very good application of thermal putty. Now we do want to remove the board though. I've got this question a trillion times, so I want to address it now. Why don't you work on consoles? I don't like working on other people's consoles because we call them roach motels. Yes, everybody who does work on consoles, you already know, these things are, for some reason, a roach's paradise. Roaches love these things. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want that in my shop. I don't want that in my home. I don't want that in my eyeballs. I don't want to see that stuff, period. Also, it's not worth the money. Consoles now are on the border of like, it's not worth it anymore in terms of like what jobs they need to be done. I mean, it depends on where you live, of course. I always say this. If you live somewhere where labor is cheap, then yeah, consoles are great. You know, the great source of income. But if you live somewhere where consoles, you know, $300 and you're charging $200 to do whatever, because, you know, 2 hours of labor to do something, it doesn't make any sense financially. So that's why I don't work on consoles. Now, my whole career started during NVIDIA's Bumpgate, and I would work on the PS3 FATs that had the yellow light of death. That was one of my first repairs, and I loved working on those things. Ironically, I did not run into any roaches, but I did run into that which shall not be named with an Xbox one time. Scary stuff. I disconnected this cable. That was the one cable we wanted to do. I have to take that off to access the heatsink. So this is the heatsink, obviously. This thing is so clean, dude. I barely use this thing. This is nuts. Wow, it's a big ass heatsink. All right, so I'm gonna undo this. I am gonna take it out of this first though. All right, Linus, give me your finest Phillips. They're not sponsoring me. This is actually just a really good screwdriver. Now, obviously, you want to do this before you remove from the case, unlike me, because it is a little wobbly. And this is a little bracket. This thing gives it tension, I'm guessing, so that the heatsink has tension against the chip. So this is the other point of failure on the PS5s. It's the power supply. Thankfully, I only have a single ball here that found its way into my power supply. But if you have, you know, a dusty house, this gets clogged with dust, the power supply cannot breathe, and it overheats, shuts down, dies. You can't get a good grip on it when it's outside of the thing, so I'm gonna put it back into here, see if I can get a better grip on it, and then remove this motherboard from that metal plate, because it feels like the metal plate wants to be released, but I just can't get a grip on it. Usually I have no problem gripping things. What I want to do is try to just basically take this board out and keep the bottom metal board in, because that's where the actual CPU is. I do want to start it from this end because the HDMI and those other ports are in the little slots right there, so I don't want to pinch them in the slots. Oh, you can hear it. Listen. So that's it. It's disconnecting from the CPU. I'm guessing that's the thermal putty underneath. There we go. There we go. Now this should be the moment of truth. Look at that. Would you fucking look at that? It was pooling. It pooled. Holy sh**. I need to stop swearing, but wow, 100%. Shout out to TronixFix, dude. If he never made that video, I would never have even checked this. That's wild. So, dude, this thing wouldn't have lasted a few more months with my dad. My dad plays, when he plays games, he plays games. I mean, he's like going on 12-hour binges. This thing would not have lasted. All right, so what I want to do is I'm not going to add any liquid metal to it. I want to actually just redistribute the liquid metal. So I'm going to use this as like a syringe, and I'm just going to kind of just suck up the extra that landed on the foam right here. It's not easy actually to do this. And then I'm just going to redistribute it back onto the die. All right, same thing on this one. Just gently try to suck up the extra that pooled. It's not very easy. I'm gonna use a Q-tip, don't worry. I'm gonna use one of the pre-applicators afterwards because this isn't exactly the most efficient way to do it, but it works. So that's definitely more than we sucked up, but don't worry. We'll redistribute it. Thank you, Thermal Grizzly, for making liquid metal. Listen, I hate liquid metal, but I understand liquid metal. In this application, it makes perfect sense because this thing hauls ass, dude. Like, I get it, but you just need to build your machine around the fact that it's going to have liquid metal. That's where my beef comes from, is companies don't build the thermals around the fact it's going to have liquid metal. All right, so I'm just gonna go in circles, like here, gently, gently. Way too much liquid metal here. So I'm gonna have to clean up the extra. I'll use another Q-tip to clean the extra up. And then over here, same thing, we go in a circle. We want to distribute it evenly across the entire chip. Now the PlayStation obviously does have this foam. You'll notice this on computers that do use liquid metal. See this foam? So liquid metal, if it does leak, it just goes into this foam. Kind of serves as like a barrier so it doesn't leak out into here. But you still have to be super, super careful, which is why I'm just gonna remove some of this liquid metal, the extra from here.
A few moments later.
Hey, after my first try, I was able to reapply the liquid metal, redistribute it easily, no problem. Okay, so I had to waste an entire tube of liquid metal. To use this thing as a syringe and prevent all the liquid metal that's in there from going onto the chip, you have no choice but to dump it out and then suck it back in, hopefully, and then you get air bubbles. It was a whole thing. But I'm very happy with how it turned out. Both of these are now evenly applied, so even layer on both. So now I just gotta really quickly slap this thing onto here to minimize any like sort of movement. I mean, even though it's not, you know, it's not gonna splash out, but liquid metal scares the crap out of me. It scares the crap out of me because it really is very dangerous to work with. So I need to flip it this way, and I wanna just make sure to get these guys so it doesn't break anything. For the thermal putty, you might be wondering, hey, you're gonna apply the thermal putty? No, I'm not. Should you? Probably, but you know what? I have faith that this thing's fine. Thermal putty still looks good. It's still like very soft, so. All right, you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. All right, and now we want to, obviously, this thing. So it went like this, right? Now is the point I realized I took out these 4 screws for absolutely no reason. And I forgot to plug this in. Alright, now where were we? For once in my life, not one screw left over. First try too, I didn't forget a single thing while I was reassembling it, except for the ribbon cable, and I had to unscrew 2, 3 screws because I put it in the wrong spot. But that's fine. Now we see if I broke my place. Oh wait, Jesus, you can't do that. You see, oh God. I have to lay it flat like this. Oh God, how am I gonna do this? That means I can't use this anymore. It took me 5 years to figure out how to use this, and now I can't use it anymore. Sony, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Let's test this thing. So we're gonna make sure to put it on the rug. I'm just kidding, don't do that. I have so much stuff over here. Oh, my cricket trophies. Yeah, that's right. All the Indians go wild. Actually, you know what? HDMI first. Again, like I said, the HDMI on these, very, very fragile. So for all you children out there, just make sure to be very careful plugging in your HDMI. And for all you adults, tell the kid never to touch that thing, because that thing snaps like very easily. Are we balanced? That's not bad. It's not good. Listen to this guy. There, perfect. Okay, moment of truth. Oh, no, don't. Turns on. Do I have it upside down, actually? Is this upside down? Oh, this might be upside down, actually. Doesn't matter. It doesn't, listen, it doesn't matter, okay? If I had the case on it, I would know if it was upside down or not, but I don't care. If you guys are wondering what I play, Gran Turismo 7, baby. That's also Gran Turismo 7. Twisted Metal 2, you guys already know the deal. Twisted Metal. I actually haven't ended up playing this yet. I've never played God of War 3. I played 1 and 2. I still haven't played this one. I'd honestly rather play this one on the emulator instead of on the PS5 because, you know, 4K. Ironically, the emulator plays it way better. Not that I would know anything about piracy or anything like that. I don't do that stuff. So I am going to play Gran Turismo 7 just to really get this thing heating up. And, I mean, if it crashes, it crashes, but there's really no way for me to actually test the temps. I could, I guess, get a temperature laser and check the heatsink or whatever, but I don't have that. And I didn't take a before temp, so I don't know. But visually, we saw the liquid metal was pooling, there was a bare spot on the die, and the thing was going to die if I did not change it. So you guys need to do that to your PS5. If it's been a few years on your original PS5, PS5 Pro is immune to this, but on the original PS5, you have to change that paste, dude. If it's been vertical. If it's been horizontal, it's not gonna get that bare spot. However, I still would recommend giving it a clean out, obviously, and if you're in there, you might as well replace the liquid metal because it does tend to dry out over time. Oh, 1111. Make a wish. I wish Hugo was alive. Rest in peace. All right, I'm gonna time lapse this baby, boys. Obviously, if this is broken, there's gonna be an addendum onto the end of this video, but we're running nice and cool right now. Fan's not going crazy. Dream car, by the way. It's been about an hour and nothing. This fan, you can barely even hear it. We are gravy, baby. And this thing's definitely upside down, so I gotta swap that out.